I decided to turn the podcast over to you. What should I talk about? And I got Jaylen Brown being complimented by all of this stuff, contract stuff, like individual contract stipulations. Interesting topic. And my playing career in Greece. People want to know more. So I'll talk about it right now on the Locked On Celtics podcast.
Be ever ready. Recognize the city of champs. Boston, baby, we do what you can't. Locked on number 18, Tatum and Brown, J-team, step back. We gon' wet that and slay teams. Of course, the Celtics, who else could it be? Screaming like KG with the Larry O.B. Karalis above average, assessing the team status. Best daily pod, no cap, salary matching. Clutch like Bird the DJ, keep John on replay. Prime time, dapping up the truth on the sideline. Raining J's, how it started, raising banners, how we finished. Locked on Celtics pod, home of the winners. B.
Hey there, welcome back to the Locked On Celtics podcast. Thank you for making this show part of your daily routine, Monday through Friday this week, but next week, it's actually going to be a 3-day-a-week podcast, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Of course, that could adjust as things warrant. If there's something new that drops, I can add a podcast, I can shift the podcast. Best way to get the podcast is make sure you are subscribed, and then you will get it dropped directly to your device. Subscribe wherever you get your podcast. This show is free everywhere you get your podcast. The show is generally daily. So when the season starts back up again, it's a Monday through Friday podcast. August and September will be the 3 days a week. Then we get back up to 5 days a week. I'm John Karalis. I cover the Celtics for Boston Sports Journal. I'm entering my 16th season covering the Celtics. That's a long time. And I've written a book called Boston Celtics All-Time All-Stars. And I'm here on a Friday. You know, I spent the night in Mohegan Sun. I went to go watch Sue Bird's last game in Connecticut. It was a very special night. I have my Sue Bird shirt on here. Seattle basketball royalty. It's when she broke her face and wore the mask. I'm a big fan of Sue Bird. I remember when I was, I forget if I was interning. I might have been out of college, or just out of college, or what, but she was playing at UConn. And I remember her coming down the right side of the floor. I have this flashbulb memory where she came down the right side of the floor. She did one of those like hop step crossovers. Like as soon as I saw that move, I was like, whoa, who's this? I don't know why that move was it. I don't know what it was. Like it was just so fluid and smooth and fast. And I said, damn, right away. It was one of the first times I was watching that UConn women's team play. She hit that crossover on somebody. I was like, I'm hooked. I'm immediately hooked. And I've been a huge Sue Bird fan ever since. So this is my first time actually getting to see her play. I thought it was awesome. Now, I know not everybody is into the WNBA. That's fine. You don't have to be. I'm not telling you. So two things when it comes to this topic, just this topic in general. If I say, I like women's basketball, I like the WNBA, I like to go watch, you can say, oh, I mean, you know what? I'm not a fan. Fine. The people who are just jerks about it, who can't just settle at, yeah, you know what? It's not for me. Who want to take it a step further and be just absolute jerks about, denigrating the sport. Like, first of all, I have no love for you at all. Don't be a jerk. It's okay to not like something and just say, yeah, you know what? Oh, you like that? That's great. It's not for me. Don't like it. Fine. People don't have to like everything. We have to be a jerk about explaining and like making a big demonstration, a big whole thing, a scene about why you don't like that. You can go away. Secondly, I think people who might say, you know what, I tried watching the WNBA and it didn't grab my attention. I kind of would encourage you to just maybe give it another try. I remember in the early days, the league was just finding its footing. The game is really, the pace is good. The speed of the game is really good. The athletes are amazing. I really think it's a really great brand of basketball. and there's not a lot of like dunking in the middle of the lane. I saw some really great offense and backdoor cuts and slips and stuff like that. And sometimes in the NBA, those end as dunks, and people say, oh, well, that's part of the excitement. And I like that. Yeah, you're not going to see that in the WNBA. But what I saw in Connecticut versus Seattle is that was a good game, a fun game. And Sue Bird's last game in Connecticut, and the only time I've gotten to see her play live, that was a lot of fun. So anyway, I came back from that, and I said, I can't think of anything right now. I think I'm all podcasted out for the week. So let me see. Let me throw the question out to you all. Say, what should I pod about? And there were a lot of great answers. In fact, there were so many answers that I think I'm going to be fueled. I've podcast topics for the next 2-3 weeks, I think. So there's a lot of stuff. And then, the jokes, plenty of jokes that came in, including from Justin in Australia, who asked about Tom's mustache. Lawrence, who said, ask Tom Westerholm what his mustache's favorite Built Bar flavor is, because we all know he's feeding that thing. Tom, not with me in this podcast, but his mustache is definitely, it's not even a mustache. It's its own separate living entity that climbs onto his face and attaches itself to his upper lip for the podcast. But it is its own thing. And I'm currently working a deal with Locked On to have Tom's mustache host its own show. So stay tuned for that. At Celtics RD on Twitter responded saying, hey, if you got nothing to say nothing. Not hating. You asked. Honest talk. And don't talk. No more JB talk, please. The man is staying. Fine. No more Jaylen Brown talk after this last topic, which came from Dimitri Pappas, friend of the program, had him on when the Celtics were in the finals. He said, talk about the fact that people don't understand that having your name mentioned in almost straight up trade for one of the greatest players of all time at age 24 is a compliment, not a slap in the face. So this is a nice kind of cherry on top of the end of the Jaylen Brown discussions until something new breaks. But for now, I do think it's fair to characterize this. And if Brad Stevens and Ime Udoka and other people are talking to Jaylen, and if he is upset, like, oh, why is my name constantly in these trade talks? You can say, I would rather have my name in trade talks than have my name not be in trade talks because people don't want me on their team. Like, you could be just some dude who, when the Kevin Durant trade comes up and you say, hey, we've got Jaylen Brown, and you're like, nah, who else you got? Would you rather be the nah, or would you rather be your package had better start with Jaylen Brown or else we're not even talking? And I get that Jaylen's probably like upset by the rumor mill and all of that stuff, and maybe even feels a little disrespected, but I would say that is a fair characterization from Dimitri, and I think it's a great way to look at it. You gotta look at these rumors, even however constant they may seem, look at the names that Jaylen has been rumored to be desired in a trade, starting right now with Kevin Durant. There was some talk about the Anthony Davis stuff, but I think that was more Jayson Tatum. James Harden was he was mentioned in James Harden rumors. He was mentioned in Jimmy Butler rumors. Who else? Somebody else. Drawing a blank. But he's mentioned. It's not like he's mentioned with, well, Boston can send him to, Utah for the spare parts, and not even Donovan Mitchell or something like, or I don't know, OKC for a package of young guys, but he's being talked about in terms of Kevin Durant and James Harden and Jimmy Butler and great names and great players. And you know what? He's still in Boston. And this when I asked for the comment here and it says, hey, the man is staying, that's true. I think that's also true that he is staying. So the fact that you are mentioned in the trade rumors with Kevin Durant and the fact that so many of us who watch these games closely are saying, you know what, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do, even though it's Kevin Durant, and I know it's Kevin Durant and it's going to be, whatever, potential championship with Kevin Durant, but I like my chances with Jaylen. The fact that that's even the discussion, the fact that so many people in Boston are against that trade tells you something. Be flattered. Take it positively and don't use this. And people should understand this too. Don't sit there and be like, we're going to run Jaylen out of town with all these rumors. It's not like the Celtics are starting these rumors. It's not like Brad Stevens like, hey, you know what? Let me just float this same dude's name out there over and over and over again until I piss him off. No, it's coming from other places. So I think it is a compliment. Now, up next, and this is, by the way, this is different. This is different than a mailbag episode where people ask specific questions. I said, give me a topic, and it's more like a prompt. It's almost like an improv. I heard Jaylen Brown being a compliment. Up next, I heard people. I want contract requirements. What are your thoughts on contract requirements? Specific incentive stuff. Incentives in NBA contracts are super interesting. I'm going to talk about that after I talk about BetOnline, the fastest and easiest way to check in on all your betting needs. You can find all your favorite sports and events at the #1 online source for odds, lines, and games. You can find reviews and news of every league, including the NBA, obviously, Major League Baseball, NFL, NHL, combat sports like boxing and MMA, esports. It's just video games, but you can bet on them, even golf. BetOnline continues to be the top online resource for all your sports wagering information. From live in-game betting, scores, and podcasts, they have you covered. Head on over to BetOnline today. You can use your mobile device to learn about the action happening right now, today. BetOnline is where the game starts. Please gamble responsibly. Thanks for making Locked On Celtics your first listen every day. Make Locked On NBA your second listen. I host the show on Wednesdays with Jake Madison of Locked On Pelicans. He might be a team getting Kevin Durant. Who knows? You can find Locked On NBA wherever you got this podcast. Make sure you're subscribed. You can watch the show on YouTube as well. People watching the show on YouTube now see me in front of a very stylized scene in the clouds. It's like Lando Calrissian's basketball court in Empire Strikes Back, maybe. That could be like, Han Solo lands. Maybe it's one of the deleted scenes. Maybe he and Lando are catching up over a game of like one-on-one or just shooting around. And this hoop in the clouds could be Lando's hoop. That's how I see it. So those of you who may be wondering, and maybe it's like 3 of you, I am green screening my way through the next month or so as I construct a new podcast studio where hopefully I will have a significant upgrade for your viewing pleasure. And it's something that I feel like can be a nice addition to the podcast for those people who do watch on YouTube. And there's a lot of you. We have almost 7,700 subscribers now on YouTube. So a significant amount of people watching the show every day. I want to give you a little something to maybe look forward to, a little something different there visually. So that's coming up. In the meantime, I got this topic on Twitter from Mike. So what are your thoughts on specific contract requirements? For example, Zion Williamson, where he is required to be checked regularly to check his body weight and fat percentage or risk losing money. I think these incentives are great. And I think more incentives need to be included in NBA contracts where you never know. We talked about this with Grant Williams. I feel like there needs to be a solution to these big monster, mega, supermax, ultra max mega max contracts where guys are making, like what Russell Westbrook are making significant amount of money. But at the same time, maybe there should be some sort of incentive tied in to, after, if you get a super max deal and you're making $50 million a year and you're heading into your 36-year-old, 37-year-old year, maybe there should be some performance bonuses built in. Like, we're going to pay you on the front end, but if you're not, we'll pay you on the back end if you reach these things. And we understand there's going to be some decline, so we're going to have these few incentives there. But I feel like there's a possibility to start in this new collective bargaining agreement to start throwing some of that stuff in there. If the league isn't going to address the contracts, then there are going to be problems moving forward. A guy like Bradley Beal signs this huge, incredible contract now with a no trade clause, all of that stuff. You're hamstringing the team from making their roster moves. Now, I'm not saying I think I said that wrong, because the player should, if I'm a player, I'm trying to get everything I possibly can. But at the same time, you do have to understand that a team putting that much money into one player who's older runs the risk of, oh man, we've put a lot of money into this, but we had to put that much money into it to get the 2 years on the front end. Is there anything that can be done on the 2 or 3 years on the back end that maybe even if the number isn't significantly impacted, maybe there's a way for, if the incentives don't hit, there's a tax element there. And if a player doesn't reach this level, you give him the money. And if he doesn't hit that level, maybe you take a few bucks off the tax bill or something. I don't know. But as far as these, like Jaylen Brown's going to get a new contract in a couple of years. Maybe you want to protect yourself. You want to hedge yourself against injuries and say, hey, we will give you the full max, but you have to play 70 games. And that gives you 12 games off to deal with injuries. Maybe it's 68 games, whatever it is. You got to give the guy enough room to say, hey, if I sprain an ankle, then I can't be losing money just because I had a weird sprained ankle thing. But at the same time, if you're a guy who misses time regularly, maybe there's something there. Maybe there's an expansion in the contract incentive system, because the Zion thing is a good one. His body weight is something that's under his control, and it's something that's a problem for him to continue to put himself at risk for future injury. He's already had a big foot injury. So if he is not able to keep his weight down and he puts himself at risk for further injury, why should the Pelicans be punished? There's a give and a take. Players have a ton of power and they make a ton of money. There's got to be some sort of give and take available for teams to maybe at least protect themselves a little bit. And if they can protect themselves with a player, then maybe they have more money to spend somewhere else. Or maybe they just feel better about giving the contract to a guy and you get to keep your favorite player for a little while longer. It's a topic that certainly can be explored. I think the Celtics could do a contract like that for Al Horford. They could do a contract like that for Robert Williams, who already has, I think, some incentives in there, but let's build some more. And I don't want to turn it into NFL contracts at all. I want to make sure these players are getting their money, but there is a balance. There is a balance to be struck. I'm a union guy. I believe in the players. I believe in their rights to collectively bargain. all of this stuff into, or refuse to collectively bargain this stuff into the contract. That's how negotiations work. Maybe they buy into this and give in somewhere else. There has to be some give and take for both sides. So, but I do understand the business of the NBA and the way things are currently constructed. I don't know that it's. I don't know that teams have enough wiggle room to get out of mistakes. A little mistake could be super, super costly. And I just think that it might be better for the league if mistakes can be corrected a little more easily. I'll be back with more topics about my playing career. If you thought maybe, wow, John, that was a really abrupt transition heading into the last break, it's because I had to sneeze. I needed to spit out those last lines before I sneezed, and I didn't want to edit anything there. So that's what that was. Angelo and Forrest both wanted to get into my playing career when I asked the topic. Angelo, I'd love to hear about where you stayed, the training, the atmosphere, all of that stuff. So, as people may or may not know, if you're new to the podcast, I was a former professional basketball player in Greece. My career was cut short after one season. It was a very short career. I hurt my back. I tore my quad and tore my left quad. And I felt pressure from the team to get back because they were very much there weren't a lot of union protections back then. So I tore my quad, and then I hurt my back trying to get back quickly from the quad injury. And after that, it was just downhill. And I had been dealing with injuries throughout the last, especially my senior year in college. And I think I was being real with myself. I could have continued playing, come home, rehab, all of that stuff, got myself back into shape and head back out there and really focus on that. But the money was not particularly great. I mean, I don't want to get into all of that, but it was less. It was less than what the minimum guys are making, the rookie minimum guys are making, and it's not exactly close. So at that level, it was a low-level Greek team, and I made a decision that I wasn't going to get rich playing basketball professionally. I probably could have kept going for a few more years. And if the injuries continue to take hold, then who knows what. But I said to myself, look, I'm going to, instead of going through rehab again and all of that stuff, I'm just going to go home and start my TV career and my journalism career and just go for that, because that just made more sense to me. I had some family issues too that made me feel like I should go back sooner rather than later. And I had some business issues in Greece. I think if you talk to any players from who, especially in the lower levels of Greece or in Europe at all, we all share one common thread. We're all still owed money. So I played in a town called Nafplio, which is southwest of Greece by, a couple hours on a bus. First modern capital of Greece. Is a beautiful little place, small town. They put me up in a hotel. I stayed in a hotel, and I had a room just blocked off. Hotels in Greece in that place is a little bit different. It's just privately owned. They had a deal with the team, so you could. It wasn't exactly like paying like a room rate. It's not like I was staying in a Marriott. So let's see, what else do you want to say? Oh, the training. The schedule was actually pretty great. You play like once or twice a week, mostly like once a week. So we'd play on when did we play? Sundays? No, Fridays. We play on Friday. We'd have Saturday off. Sunday was a light day, and then Monday we'd go to work and have 2 sessions. A light session in the morning, shoot around basically, go lift. Then we'd hit the cafe because you hit the cafe in Greece at that point. Then you go and you take your mid-afternoon nap. That's a big thing over there. Wake up, get to the gym, go hard, have a good hard practice, get your massage, get your treatment, and then you're done for the night. Go get dinner. There was one restaurant in town where they said, just every time you want to eat, just go there. If you don't want to go there, then you have to pay. But if you go there, they'll take care of you. So I'd go to this one restaurant every time, and the best part about this restaurant was there's no menu. There's a board, and they tell you, here are the 3 things that we're making right now. We have this catch of the day, this fish. We have this pasta or whatever, this vegetable thing. And that's it. Those are your 3 choices and whatever. So I'd go there and eat all the time. It was a lot of fun. Really great. They just platters of food, but you're working out. You got 2 practices a day and a lifting session. So I felt pretty good. I was like, and maybe I will admit now, looking back on it, maybe I got too big too fast. And because I spent my entire career as a big guy. I'm 6'5". I was 6'3" in high school. In Pawtucket, Rhode Island, you're a center at that height. If I was born in Brooklyn, that I would have been dribbling a basketball, and maybe I would have been a point guard. But when I got to Greece, I thought, okay, I'm a little undersized now for a power forward. I need to put on some weight, muscle. So I go hang with these guys because I'm starting to pound in the post, and these guys are big, 6'8", 6'9", 6'10" trees. I'm like, I got to be able to move them. I think what I should have been doing is working on my face-up game a little bit more, which I started to do, but I think maybe the added weight added some stress, and it's probably why I got hurt. So, but it was, you go through the whole week, Monday through Thursday, practices. You get to where you need to go. Thursday, you're traveling. We traveled within the country. It's not like we played in Italy or Turkey or anything like that. We played all within Greece. And the game atmosphere I've joked around like this before, but if you ever want to know where I played, watch the early Greek videos of Giannis in those crappy little gyms in Greece. Those crappy little lower level pro gyms in Greece is where I played. 5,000 people if you're lucky. And everybody smoked. Be in the locker room, guys walking around with towels around them with cigarettes dangling from their lips. On the bench, there's this theory when you're playing that you want to sit next to the coaches when, if you're on the bench, because somebody invariably is going to screw up, and you want to be the guy that when he turns and looks at the bench and goes, you get in there so you can get back into the game. Well, both coaches are smoking on the bench. So I said, screw this. I don't care if I never get back into the game. I'm sitting on the other end of the bench because I can't sit here and breathe in their cigarette smoke. By the end of the game, there was a layer at the top of the arena of smoke because all the fans were smoking. The coaches are smoking. I mean, seriously, I thought at halftime, maybe the referees were outside smoking. I was the only one who didn't smoke. And seriously, I felt like I wasn't sure if I was getting healthier playing basketball or getting less healthy. So, but it was a fun atmosphere, obviously. My craziest on-court story, and this, I think Celtics fans will appreciate this, is when the team was complaining, both teams were complaining so much to the officials. Obviously, this could never happen in the NBA, but picture all of the worst of the Celtics complaining to the officials. Now, both teams were doing this. And one of the refs just left the game. We were all just looking at each other going, the other refs were like, what are you doing? He got so pissed and so sick of everybody complaining about his calls that he just said, you know what? I'm out. And he walked off. Had 3 refs, finished the game with 2 because one dude quit in the middle of the game. That's my craziest basketball story from Greece. I'll finish with this. I'll finish with the one where I got in trouble for going out because I mentioned it the other day in the podcast. And it's really a benign story. It's very simply put, they had this club nearby, short drive, open air club, which was the most amazing thing that I had seen. I had never been into one of those before because they didn't have them. You don't have those in Boston, but in Greece, in southern Greece, you can have an open air club because it's gorgeous. So we went. I was feeling myself. When you talk about, here I am, I'm in Greece, I'm playing pro ball, I'm in a club, we've got a seat in the back. Everything that you can think about in that situation of a player going, like, that was me. I was in the back. Had people coming up to us, people saying all these nice things to us. It was everything I wanted. And we went till 4 a.m. And here's the thing. It's not like it was a game day. It's not like it was a practice day. We were off the next day. So I was like, hell, 4 a.m? Hell yeah. I'm going to sleep. I'm going to get up. I'm going to go eat. I'm going to come back. I'm going to sleep some more. I'm going to get up and go eat again. I'm going to sleep this off. And then by the time practice rolls around, I'm good. This is nothing. It was a Friday night or Saturday night, whatever it was. We were off the next day and I was chilling. It was a fantastic night. One of the great experiences, feel like it's great to say like, oh yeah, I played and all of that stuff, but it's also kind of great to like live the life. But then at practice, like the first practice after that, the coach just lit into me and the other guys we're trying to set this tone. We're trying to be this team, like we blah, blah, blah. We're trying to do this and set this image. And then I got to hear about this guy and the American all out partying all night. I was like, first of all, dude, I'm Greek too, man. What are you talking about the American? Just because I'm here because I'm Greek. And secondly, it's not like we did anything wrong. We basically sat around. We weren't like going crazy. We didn't trash anything, but he lit into us. I didn't go back to that club. Now looking back on it, I try not to live my life with any regrets, but I should have gone back to that club. That was an awesome club. Yeah, but fun times, man. Just it was great. Signing autographs, living the life. It was good. There's I definitely can say that I didn't appreciate it enough when I was younger. And that was the point I was making to Tom the other day, but I definitely didn't appreciate it enough when I was younger. Maybe if I feel like if I had my attitude now as a guy in his late 40s, I might have stuck around there a little bit more. I might have just said, this is my time to live this life. And I probably would have lived that life a little bit more. Now I realize that, I had other things going on, but I probably could have milked that for a lot more, even though I was hurt. And frankly, still hurt. So maybe I would not have been able to carry that out for much longer anyway. Either way, here I am. Hope people enjoyed this. It's a little fun, kind of different podcast for a Friday. And so hope you enjoyed that. Thank you for everybody for throwing these topics out there, sharing a little bit of my experience over in Greece. Again, it wasn't, I downplay it a lot because I don't think it was anything special. It was a guy who went to Greece, got hurt, and quit playing basketball after a year. But it was fun while it lasted. So thank you for subscribing. If you're a subscriber, if you're not a subscriber and you're still here at this point, then sure, hit that subscribe button. Make sure, because next week I'm going down to 3 days a week. It should be Monday, Wednesday, Friday, depending on what the news of the day is. If it requires an immediate podcast, then I'll do a Tuesday. I'll do a Thursday. Maybe I'll do a Monday, Tuesday, Friday. Maybe I'll adjust the days of the week. So, but the plan is Monday, Wednesday, Friday. And if something big breaks, then if I have to do 5 days a week, totally going to do 5 days a week. If I have to, if the news is worth it. So, subscribe, get the show directly to your device, wherever you get your podcasts. If you're subscribed, you'll know when I do a show because it'll show up. Same thing with YouTube. You can watch the show on YouTube and enjoy my rotating backgrounds on the YouTube page until I build out that studio. That's something that I hope that you like as well. And share the podcast if you are so inclined. I would love it if you told your friends and family and everybody that they should be listening to the Locked On Celtics podcast right here on the Locked On Podcast Network.